After receiving a ton of requests for the Resolve version of our Batman trailer look video, we decided to make a tutorial in recreating the look inside Davinci using LUT workflow. We'll try to replicate Hollywood's principal path in our grading tutorial. An average film has somewhat around 1,000 to 1,500 shots, and as a colorist, you get a very limited amount of time to color each and every shot. Most of the time, even as a masterful colorist, you only get a couple of minutes to work on a single shot. This means that even professional colorists don't have the privilege of space and time to put a dozen of windows in a shot. Hence, most colorists work closely with the DPs to create a look that works with around 100% of the shots in a single go. And then, with the remaining time, work on shots at the individual level to fine-tune the overall grade. In this tutorial, we will try to recreate our Batman look using the same principle, making sure that our grade works with all the shots on our timeline across different cameras without much effort. But before moving ahead, do understand that this might not be our final look of the actual movie. But even then, it's still a very bleak look. An interesting grade in case you want to recreate it for your own commercial and personal projects. We've got all of the footage right here, so let's start with our first footage here. The node structure that we're going to be using is very simple. We're going to start with 4 nodes. We're going to name the last one as a LUT. This is where our creative LUT will go. We're going to use our second last node as a Rec. 709 conversion node. The one before this will be our contrast node. And the first one would be white balance. Let's start with the Rec. 709. Since this is RE footage, we're going to use log C to Rec. 709 conversion LUT. As you can see, it has done a perfect job of converting the color space. Now we're going to the contrast section. I'm going to lift the offset a little bit. Now that our subject is properly visible, we're going to go into log and we're going to bring our blacks a little down. And the reason we're doing this is that in this particular footage, black levels are a bit lifted. Let's go to our first node. Let's open our vector scope, and we'll try to balance our footage using our offset wheel. This seems perfect. Now we're going to go to the last node, and we're going to use our Batman LUT. We're going to apply version 3, and you're done. If you take a look and compare it with our reference shot, you'll see that we're almost in the ballpark range. If you want to increase the contrast, however, you can go to the contrast node and try playing around with the contrast a little bit more. Now, this is before our LUT, and this is after our LUT. This is before color grade, and this is after color grade. We're going to take a still, and we're going to go to our second shot, and we're going to apply our grade. As you can see, the reds are too saturated here. Now you can go into any of these adjustments and lower our red saturation, but let's work according to our principal node tree. Let's try disabling our creative LUT node. As you can see, our white balance is way off here. So what we're going to do is we're going to reset our white balance and we'll try to redo it for this footage. Cool. Let's try enabling our LUT node. And as you can see, this is much closer to our ballpark range. Let's compare it with one of the references. Yep, much closer now. Let's move over to our third shot. Let's apply the grade, disable LUT node. White balance seems too off. Let's quickly fix that. Let's pull down our overall luminance. Let's enable our LUT node. Again, very much in the ballpark range. As for our fourth shot, let's apply our grade. Let's fix our white balance a little bit. Let's pull up offset a little bit to get more detail on our subject's face. And there we go. This is before our LUT. This is after our LUT. Now, onto our next footage. This is Fuji X-T3 footage. We're going to bring our node tree from our first still. We're going to disable each node quickly and reset our third node. We will go ahead and apply color space transform on our third node. In input gamma, we're going to use Fuji F-Log, and in output gamma, we're going to use Rec 709. We know that Fuji uses Rec 2020 color space, so we'll select that in our input color space, and in the output, we're going to use Rec 709. Even if we don't set the output color space as Rec 709, it'll automatically transform the color space to Rec 709. The reason being because we have the subject settings over here, and if you go into color management, you see the timeline color space is set to Rec 709. So while that is set, let's come back to our nodes and decrease our overall luminance or brightness. Let's increase our black so we get some details here. And finally, adjust our white balance. Let's enable the LUT. Perfect. There you go. Before and after. We're going to grab a new still since this is a different camera, and we're going to apply it right away on our next shot that was captured on Fuji as well. And when you do this, you can see it still has a lot of luminance going around here. So we're going into the contrast and we're going to pull down our offset. Great. This is before our LUT, and this is after our LUT. This is before color correction and after color correction. For our last shot, let's import our color grade. This footage was shot on red, so let's reset the first three nodes and disable our last node. We're going to use input color space as red color 2. And you're going to use output color space as Rec 709. I think it has added a nice amount of saturation in there. We're going to pull down our overall luminance value. We're going to let it be there. It looks good. Okay, just a little bit down. That's it. And then a white balance. We're going to try to quickly fix using our offset wheel. Great. We're going to apply our LUT. As you can see, it has muted tones all over the image, except reds. And that's how you create the Batman 2020 trailer look in Resolve using a LUT workflow. We're constantly exploring new techniques, and with each new voyage, we upgrade our products with necessary updates. This is why we've launched Ultimate Colorist Toolkit version 2, a follow-up of our previous bundle, but unlike any other, the new toolkit is packed to the brim with essential tools every colorist would ever need. We've added the product link in the description. Make sure to subscribe here to stay updated and follow us on Instagram at Colorist Factory. That's all for now. Until next time.